Zondervan presents Nice Girls Don't Change the World by Lynne Hybels, read by Connie Wetzel. For my mother, Leah Kaiser Berry, and my daughter, Shauna Hybels Nyquist. Nice girls don't change the world. I want to tell you about someone I used to know very well. She was a nice girl, obedient, polite, socially acceptable. A bit too reticent, some might say, but so very pleasing nonetheless. A really nice girl. Oh yes, her gaze seemed empty at times, and her words sometimes rang, well, not false really, but perhaps a bit flat. Okay, I sometimes had the feeling she was just going through the motions of life, but they were such nice motions. Everybody liked her. She had an uncanny ability to keep almost everybody happy almost all the time, though she didn't truly seem to be happy herself. But I could be wrong. She was always smiling. I don't know that I ever heard her laugh, and no one ever accused her of being wildly in love with life, but she had such a nice smile. She was a very caring person, though in a passive sort of way. She was not the type to turn the world upside down. Still, she was a very nice girl. What I mean to say, as you might have guessed, is that I was a very nice girl. A nice girl. There's nothing wrong with being a nice girl, especially when you consider the alternatives. A naughty girl? A mean girl? A bad girl? Who wants to be like that? I didn't. I really didn't. What I wanted was to be a godly girl. From the time I became a Christian at age 7, I wanted to please God, and I took that desire very seriously. A nice girl. I grew up in the 1950s and 60s in a small Michigan town where I attended a church that was a fine church in many ways, but the preaching during my most impressionable years was pretty much hellfire and brimstone. I heard a lot about sin and punishment, guilt and shame. I was a very sensitive little girl. Based on what I'd heard about God, I concluded that the only way to earn the favor of this hard-hearted, demanding deity was to work very hard, be very good, and walk a very straight and narrow path. So I did. At age 10, I traded my ballet slippers for a flute because I'd been taught that dancing was a sin, but making music was an acceptable form of worship. From that time on, I tried very hard to make what I thought were God-honoring decisions about life. If there were rules to follow, I followed them. If there were pleasures to give up, I gave them up. If there was work to do, I did it. I was determined to earn God's love. I was also convinced that part of earning God's love was earning everybody else's love too, pleasing everybody, keeping everybody happy, being very nice. Every morning I got out of bed and prayed, "Dear God, what am I supposed to do today? Just tell me and I'll do it. Anything." I seldom got a clear answer, which was very frustrating because I knew how important it was to get it right. How could I keep myself under the umbrella of God's favor if I didn't get everything right? So I kept trying. For years I tried. I prayed, read my Bible, and worked harder and harder in the hope that one day I would experience what this whole Christian thing was supposed to be about. I hoped that one day I would feel God's love, know it deep inside, and at last be able to rest in it. But you can only work hard and seek love for so long. Eventually, you just run out of energy. And I did. At that point, I had been a pastor's wife for 17 years. At 22, I was delighted to marry a man who felt called to the ministry. I felt called too. I never viewed starting a church as something I was obligated to do because of who I was married to. I wanted to do it. But after 17 years, I was so exhausted, I didn't want to get out of bed. In fact, to state it plainly, I didn't want to go on living. Later, I came to understand that I was not just tired, I was seriously depressed. Most people didn't know the state I was in. I was still pretty good at going through the nice girl motions, but things were definitely not nice on the inside. Fighting the all-too-common myth that only certifiably crazy people seek professional help, I decided to see a Christian counselor. In counseling, I heard